together. And Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj gives us an answer to every problem we could possibly have. For every sawal there is a jawab in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And when we do that Khoj, when we search, contemplate deeply of the Gurbani, but also of ourselves, Gurmukh Hove Sukaya Pujya, that Gurmukh who searches within their own body, within their own mind, that Gurmukh is the one who does that Khoj of their own heart, Bande Khoj, Dil Har Roj, Na Fir Paresani Mahe. Then that person, that Gurmukh, no longer suffers anxiety. That Gurmukh then no longer suffers from resentment and anger and conflict, kalesh. So every week we come together, we talk about Simran, we talk about this path of love, we talk about the other path of materialism. But we want to try and make it practical, make it real for our day-to-day lives, because these concepts are true, they're eternal truth, they're the highest spiritual truth we can have. But if we're not able to apply it to our day-to-day life, our relationships with our partners, our children, our parents, our colleagues, if we're not able to apply it to our own mind, to our own thoughts, then we're just collecting knowledge, we're just collecting gyan. And Maharaj kehte, kya pari hai, kya guni hai, kya ved purana suni hai, pare sune kya hoi, jo sahaj na mile hai. Naam na japas gawara, kya soche barambar. Maharaj says, what's the point of reading these holy scriptures, listening to them, contemplating them, if you haven't experienced that state of sahaj, that state of connection, of sahaj ananda, of that inner peace, which is an experience, an internal experience. So what's the point of all of that, of just gaining or debating that knowledge, if we haven't experienced it? And what tends to happen is we come and we want to listen to the wisdom, we listen to the Kirtan, we read the part, but Maharaj kehte, Naam na japas. If we don't chant that name, if we don't deal with the mind, the man, the panchchor, those vichar that are constantly going on in the mind, then what are we doing? Kya soche barambar. What are we thinking about again and again? So when our mind is not on Vaheguru, on Paramatma, when our mind is not searching for that truth within ourselves, that Jyot Sarup, that divine light, if the mind is not searching for peace, you see, apne aap nu dekhna. So as we're speaking, we're to look at ourselves. We're not to think, yeah, Plana does this and Plana does that. Let's look at ourselves. When our mind is not contemplating the truth of who we are, is not searching for that peace, is not connecting to Paramatma, what is it doing? It's thinking, right? Kya soche barambar. Again and again, it just keeps thinking, it keeps thinking, it keeps thinking. And we've been conditioned in this society to think that we solve our problems through thinking. And there's a quote, and I'll probably mess the quote up, but it was something like, the same level of thinking that caused the problem cannot solve the problem. But Maharaji takes that one step further to say, vichar mare, tare tare, ult jurna ave. That actually we need to kill these thoughts, these negative thoughts, these limited belief systems, thoughts about the past, the resentments, the anxieties, the chinta, the fikr of the future, the worry, the hatred, the judgment that we have for each other. And so the topic for today was, how do we come into alignment with our true purpose? Jira sada sacha maksad. Every day we read in Rada Sahib or hear in Rada Sahib our true purpose, the highest purpose that we've been given this human life for. Ei parap manuk de huriya, gobind bilan ki e teri variya, avar kaaj tere kite na kaam, mil saad sangat paj keval naam. So every day Maharaj is saying, you've been given this manas janam, this human life, to meet Vaheguru, to know Vaheguru. This is not some Abrahamic concept of only when you die will you meet Vaheguru, will you experience God, the divine. Maharaj is saying, you've been given this human life so you can experience Vaheguru within this life and beyond. And how do we do that? Mil Sad Sangat Paj Keval Naam. To come into the Sad Sangat and to meditate on Vaheguru. And as we previously explained, that Sad Sangat can be the physical Sangat that we're in now, that are meditating on Vaheguru, that are praising Vaheguru, that are walking towards Paramatma. And that Sad Sangat can also be the presence of Parmeshwar, of that Pritam Pyare, that beloved themselves. So that is our highest purpose, and we know that, Guru Pyare. But day to day, there are things that we need to do. We have jobs, we have family, we have seva. And sometimes it gets difficult to navigate along the path. What should I do? Sometimes it feels like when we come into Sangat, the Sangat are just saying, Simran Karo, Simran Karo. And sometimes we find it difficult to relate to that. That, yeah, I'm going through this conflict in my life, or I need to make this big decision in my life. And you're just saying, do Simran, but I need to actually make a decision. I actually need to do something about this. So how do we find that highest alignment? And so that highest alignment is going to come not from the thoughts of our mind necessarily, not from the Panchjot, not from God. That highest alignment is going to come from Paramatma, from our Atma, from that Jyot. And that's not far away, Guru Mukhyari, your heart mere. It's closer than our hand to our face. Guru mere sang sada hai naale. That divine wisdom, the divine wisdom that created the human body within the mother's womb perfectly, that makes this body breathe. Aape karta, kar deti. Dinda saas garaha hai. That Vaheguru that's right here, closer than we think, that is giving us this breath, that is taking this breath. That same Vaheguru that created gravity at the perfect strength that we can walk and not float or be stuck to the earth, that created the sun and the moon to give us the seasons so we don't burn, we don't freeze, and the waves of the ocean. So if that Vaheguru doesn't make mistakes, if that Vaheguru is Puran Parmeshwar, is perfect, then they cannot make a mistake with us. So asi sochana hai, asi khojana hai. If Vaheguru never makes mistakes, and Vaheguru is our true nature, then how is it that life feels hard? How is it that sometimes it feels like we're making those mistakes? So Maharaji tells us that there's those two paths that we can take that we've spoken about again and again. Levatar doi raah hai, hukmi kar kamai. So again and again we've spoken about there's the path of Dad, which is the path of materialism. So yes, we all have desires, we all come into this state of mind of Rajagun, where we need to create sustenance for ourselves and our family, we need to create this roof over our head. And yes, we have a list of desires and pleasures as well. But that manmukh, that person who doesn't recognize Vaheguru's power, that doesn't recognize Vaheguruji's highest good for all of us, will just become engrossed within those physical things, that physical reality, that Maya. And Gurmukh Maya, the objects that we have, for example, a car, a house, these kappare, our family, we can say that's Maya, but it's only Maya depending on the state of the mind. Because for that Gurmukh, when their mind is aligned with Vaheguru, through that meditation, through that praise, Sift Salaha, then ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਹੈ, ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਬਿਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ. Everything's Vaheguru, the sargun form, the physical form, and the nirgun, and the nirankar. Sargun, nirgun, nirankar, sun samadhi aap, aapne kiya nanaka, aape hi fir ja. That Gurmukh, whose mind has overcome its own thoughts, who is taking steps towards Vaheguru, whose mind has merged with Vaheguru's mind, that is the true meaning of that milap, of that meeting, that union, that darshan. So for the Gurmukh, this parivar, this family is Vaheguru. This body is Vaheguru. The car, the house, everything is Vaheguru. The form, the formless, and beyond form. And even this being that is speaking right now, the beings that are sitting here, that are listening, even that is Vaheguru. But for the manmukh that is walking on the path of Dharma, then we think that it's me, it's I. We think we have to do things in order to achieve happiness, to achieve status, approval, to feel that love. And ultimately, everything that we do in this world is because we are missing that love. Whereas that newborn baby or that Brahmgyani is whole, is complete in that experience of that love, of that wholeness. The rest of us are still looking outside. And where are we looking? We look to our husband or our wife to make us feel complete, to make us feel approved of. And when they disagree with us, Jagara, Ganesh, Kahat Kabir, Panche Ka Jagara, Jagarat Janam Gavaya. Sri Kabir ji says that this Jagara that's happening is those panch chor that are within us. My panch chor, your panch chor, those tendencies, they are the ones fighting because you and I, we are one, we are Atma. And because we are listening to those panch chor, there is an illusion of conflict between me and the other. Whether it's your partner, whether it's your children, your parents, your colleagues, even the Sangha. So that is an illusion, Gurmukh Pyare. It might feel real in that moment, that this person is disrespecting me. But it's an illusion, because these thoughts of the mind, they're not real. They are illusions created by those children. And sometimes we think, I need to do this kind of work, or I need to do that kind of work, and then I will be happy. And we've got to do that Khoj Gurmukh Pyareo, that why is my mind searching for this? When we're on this path of thought, of materialism, of the manmukh, then the only reason we are looking for that other thing is because we think it's going to make us feel whole, it's going to make us feel loved, it's going to make us feel complete. And every time we achieve it, we know if we do that Khoj, the line moves. There's another Krishna, there's another Bhukha, there's another Pyas, there's another desire, a hunger, a thirst. And it never ends. And so we go from that place of Rajagun, from those desires, those wishes, and we end up in Tamagun, where we start blaming each other. We start shaming ourselves for not achieving it. We start slandering Linda, Jubilee. We start to blame our childhood trauma. We start to blame the abuse of another. But Maharaj kende dadde dosh na deo kisse. Dosh deo karam apane. Now don't blame anybody else for what is happening to you right now. Look at your own actions instead. Now some people will say that you don't understand. She really is like this. He really is like that. Now, Maharaj is not saying here that you have to put up with abuse. What Maharaj is saying is, okay, if that person is like that, what is your responsibility? What can you do about it? Because you cannot change another person until you've changed yourself. And how hard is that? How many promises do we make and break every day about quitting this and going here and going there? So Maharaj is empowering us to say, stop wasting your energy blaming other people. Look at your actions. What can you do? And there's those three types of actions. Three karam. Man, vach, karam. There's the thoughts of our man, the mind. There's the bachan, the words that we speak. And then there's our physical actions. But those physical actions and those words are rooted in the thoughts of our man. And so we are being driven by those joy. We are being driven by our home, our sense of self-importance, our self-identity, that sense of I need to control life, to be happy, to be enough, to be whole. And that is the path of the Manu. So Gurmukh Pyareo, when we are looking for our purpose, when we are looking for that alignment in our lives, that harmony, that said, we are not going to find it by purely focusing on the physical world. It's only then that it's Maya, where we take Vaheguru out of the equation. And so sometimes, Gurmukh Pyareo, we can be on this path of live, this path of love, and we recognize Vaheguru exists. We recognize Vaheguru is Dayalu, is Kripalu, is Mayalu, is compassionate, is merciful, is graceful. But we only recognize it, Gurmukh Pyareo, first thing in the morning or last thing at night, or when we come to the Gurdwara. And the rest of the time there's a disconnect. We close that Gudka side, we close the app on our phone, we walk outside of the bar and we go down to the Langar Forum, we go outside into the outside world, and all of a sudden that connection is lost. That trust, that bharosa, that vishwas, that Vaheguruji is taking care of everything, always. And what is the proof? That we still have this breath. That means Vaheguru's kirpa is on us. Sabse no kirpal, samale, sahib, sahib. That kirpa sabse is on everyone. And how do we know that kirpa is on us? Samale sahib sahib. Because Guruji is looking after us by giving us another breath in and another breath out. And so Gurmukh Pyare, when we're out in the world and we think even then, my purpose, my alignment, because I'm doing this part or because I did this Simran, that I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to be Satoguni. Sometimes even then, we experience dukh. And that's because we're just being part-time. Maaf karna, I do it too. We might even sit and do an hour of Simran. We might even, Gurmukh Pyare, go into Saj, go into Sun. And that's great as a starter. We want to be aiming for that. But if as soon as we open our eyes, or an hour later, or 2 hours later, the mind has forgotten that Paramatma is taking care of everything, then we've ended up back as a manmukh, we've ended up back on that path of thought. Because whether we are a manmukh or a gurmukh is a state of mind. In one moment we can be a gurmukh because we're remembering Guruji. And in another moment we can be a manmukh because we're now doing vichar, contemplating our problems and thinking that the solution is outside somewhere. So that true Gurmukh, what do they do? And we're not all there all the time just yet. But what we aspire to do is to come back, bring this mind back again and again and again to connection. So Maharaj tells us in Japji Sahib, Gaviya. The first step is to sing Guruji's praises, is to create that relationship with Paramatma. If we want a relationship of love, je pyar da rishta asi lena ya, banana ya, sambhalana ya, then we have to have a relationship in the first place. We have to become familiar with who is Vaheguru. What does Vaheguru do for me? And we get that connection, that familiarity, that relationship with Vaheguru by reading Gurbani, doing Khoj of Gurbani, not parrot fashion. Just take one line a day, take the hukam of the day and read it. Because every day, Sangat Ji, I can tell you, miracles happen. Every day that we've been taking a hukamnama, it is 100% relevant to whatever is going on in our lives. So that's step one. And when we read that hukamnama, when we read that Gurbani, when we come into the Sangat and Paramatma speaks through the Sangat, then we can't help but say, Wah Guru, Wah Guru, Gaviya. We sing Guruji's praises. And as we go deeper, we put that time aside. If I said the solution to your health problem, the solution to your marriage relationship problem, the solution to your financial problem, I can give it to you. But you've got to give me a couple of hours in your day. And I guarantee you 100% that with that effort, your body will heal, your relationship will heal, your mind will heal, you will even get external wealth. Asi apne aap nu puchna hai, are you willing to give that hour or 2 hours of quality time for that result? Maharaj, by Guru Das Ji kende, Gobind Pao, Pagat Ka, Ukha. The only thing that Guruji wants from or for us is that pyar, is that love. Why does Guruji want that? Because any loving parent wants their child to feel love. That is the highest intention a parent can have. So our divine parent wants us to experience love. They don't want us to experience suffering and dukh. But we also then have that responsibility to take that time out to connect in that loving relationship with our Creator, our Sustainer. Because if we're saying to somebody in this 3D reality, Benji, I want you to solve my problem for me, then the only way that person's going to solve that problem for you or help you solve that problem is if you take time out to go and speak to them. And then you trust them and you say, wow, you sing those praises. And so that time in Simran is that time to sit, to contemplate. Amrit Vela Sachanal Vadiyai Vichar. Maharaj is saying, how? Give Satyara Bhaiya, give Pure Pippe. How do I become? How do I merge with that truth? Pakya Pao Apar. How do I sing and connect with love? That we take that time out and we do vichar. We say, wow, Guru, we let go of our own thinking and we come into the presence of Paramatma. So ek pehli stage ya, Gaviya, get to know Vaheguru. Meditate means, in Latin, meditation means to become familiar with, to get to know. So when we're chanting, we're trying to let go of ourselves, Aap Gavaiya, and get to know the true source, Aap Pashane. So you have to let go of who you think you are in order to recognize who you truly are, that you're divine. Then the next stage, Guru Pyaryo, Gaviya, Suniya. Only when the mind has been cleared of our own vichar, of the noise of the panchchor, of the trauma, of the limited belief systems. Only when that mind has become clear through that Simran, through that Sit Salah, that Gona, then we can hear the voice of Paramatma. That will lead us to that true purpose. That will lead us to that true alignment. So before we go to the next stage, let's practice Abhyas Kariye. Sangat, Sad Sangat is the highest place to do that Simran. Yes, we can do it alone, but if we are just newly on this journey, or if those Panchjor are still tonguing us, when we come into the Sangat, the vibration of the Sangat, the avastha of the Gurumukhs and the Sangat bring up everybody's vibration. So I invite everybody to sit comfortably. Asi apne sareer pe dhyan nahi leke auna. When we start doing the Simran, we're not to bring our attention to the body. So please make yourself comfortable now. If the body starts to fidget, if your foot falls asleep, if you need to cough, if you need to just slightly do it, but Guru will teach your body to sit like a dog. Because it's a dehi under Panchjora. These Panchjora are in this dehi, in this body. And they're going to constantly distract you when you start to get close to Vaheguru. So sit comfortably now. Tell your mind and your body to sit. Pyar dena. If someone you really, really loved was speaking right now, how much attention would you give them? So as you listen to your own voice, knowing that Vaheguruji is just on the other side of that parda, of that veil, and it takes a second. It takes the speed of light for that veil to dissolve, to have Paramatmaji's darshan. So as we chant, chant as if, chant knowing that that can happen. any moment. The worst puppy was saved by chanting Bhai Guruji's name. And we have to have that vishwas that that can happen for all of us. So before we start, we ask Bhai Guruji, Pishale Ogan Bakshale Prabh, Age Marg Pale. Whatever we've done in the past, however we have forgotten you and been separated from you, please forgive us. But put us on the right path now. Secondly, we now chant, we sing, as if it's already happened, as if we can already feel Bhai Guruji's presence. Because when we do it that way, when we do it with that love, with that intention, it will happen, Guru Pyari. So, Kavand Karniya, there might be disturbances, noises, distractions in the room. It's your responsibility to keep your dhyan on your own Simran. It does not matter what's happening outside of us. Your responsibility is for your own mind. As we chant, Saryane ik abaj de vich japana. We're all going to chant together. No one's going to be fast, no one's going to be slow, no one's going to be louder or go quiet when they feel like it. We're all going to chant as one layer, as one wave, to meet that vibration. And the highest vibration will raise all of us. So, Karo Kirpan. Why, Guru, 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 why, Guru. Listen to your own voice. Stay in tune with everybody around you.
Why, Guru, 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 why, Guru,
Listening internally, Sneha. Pyareo, when we've done the Simran, when our mind has cleared, इत्थों ਅਸੀਂ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ। And that highest benti, that highest ardas is to ask for Paramatma themselves to show up in your life, in your mind, that this man becomes a seesaw of that joy. And so when that mind becomes clear, it becomes purified, it will only receive the wisdom of the Atma, and it will reflect it in your thoughts, in your words, in your actions. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So Guru Pyareo, we said that first stage is Gavia. We sing those praises. Even before that, we need to make that relationship with Vaheguru to even sing their praises. We need to build that love through becoming familiar with their bhajan, through Gurbani, by becoming familiar with them through the Sadh Sangat that share their stories of how Paramatma has transformed their lives, their relationships, their bodies, everything. Then as we start to tread the path for ourselves, as we start to chant. Sometimes we chant, but ਅਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ. So we need to create this habit, Sangat ji, that when we've done that bhakti, ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਸੁਣਨਾ ਹੈ. Now, if you can't hear that internal voice of Paramatma, the Anand Shabad, Eko Kavao, Gita Pasao, Eko Kavao. It's from that voice, from that sound, that the whole of creation was created, and that sound vibration, that sound of Vaheguruji's mukh, their beautiful sound, is within all of us, but our mind is full of too many thoughts to hear it. So jado asi simran kita, we chant until those thoughts of the external, of the panch have settled. And then we're going to practice sitting and listening, suniya. Suniya, duk, paap ka naas. That sense of disconnection from our Atma, from Paramatma. That sense of separation, the fear, the judgment, the shame, the trauma. That only exists as long as we are disconnected from our Atma, from that soul, from that light, divine light. So once we've cleared the mind, we've made space, Gurmukh Pyareo. But if we don't sit and now listen to Vaheguruji's voice, that space is just going to get filled with more vichar. So maybe we started with, why is this happening to me? What should I do about this? We sat, we did the Simran, we cleared the mind, we felt peace. But we didn't listen. And so what happens now is, either straight away or within a couple of hours, that mind gets flooded again with those same vichar. Why? Because that panda is khali. Khali asi kar liya, saaf bhi kar liya. But we didn't fill it with that divine light. So it's just going to get full through these 5 senses, through these 9 doors. We're just going to take on more and more again. So it's essential that we sit and we listen. Why don't we listen? A lot of the time, Gurmukh Pyareo, it feels hard. Anna? First, Simran feels hard. Akhan, Okha, Sachana. Pehla o Okha lagda hai, Japana, the mind won't settle. But then when we try to sit and listen, we sit in dhyan, we focus on the Nabi. If we're not hearing Shabad yet. Fir o Okha lagda hai. But Gurmukh Pyareo, you used to find Simran so difficult before. But with practice, with the Vyas, with Maharaji's Kirpa, with the Uddham as well, it became easier. And you get there eventually. And in the same way, if we now practice sitting in that dhyan, or we holi sokha laganapana, it will start to feel easier. But if we want to progress, if we want to have that connection, chanting is not enough. Clearing is not enough. If we're hungry, ਜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਂਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਗਏ. We're sitting with that plate. Just by cleaning that plate, our book has not been satisfied or satiated. We've got to sit long enough to receive that khrak, to receive that nourishment, to receive that Gur Prasad, that Kirpa. And that Kirpa at this stage comes in the form of the Anand Shabad, that sound. So we're going to chant again. And then we're going to just practice and sit and listen. Gurmukh Pyareo, we are not going to make progress on this path if we only stay in our comfort zone. If we are only willing to stay in the known world that we're used to, we are not going to get to know what is beyond this. Maharaji tells us that that frog lives in that well, and it thinks that this well is all that there is, that there's a whole world outside. And in the same way, if we only live in the mindset, in the comfort of this body, we can never know Paramatma and how beyond they are, how wonderful they are. So even if it feels uncomfortable to sit and listen, do it anyway. Train the mind, train the body. Ai panti, sagala jamati, man jeeta, jag jeet. We have to win over this mind, and that's going to take practice, abhyas, nit, every day. So again, getting comfortable. We're going to chant more in Saj. So we're going to take Lambe Swas again, Benti, chant as one land, as one wave, as one voice. As we chant Vai, just pull your nabi in, your belly button in slightly. As we chant Guru, release. Inaki Karna. We chant Vai, pull it in. We chant Guru, release. Karo Kirpa. Vai, Guru, Vai, Guru, Vai. Pull it in and hold. Guru, Vai, Guru, Vai, Guru, ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਣਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨਾ। And any Gurmukhs who can't yet hear the Shabad, bringing your attention to your belly button, you can place your hand there if you want to. And just listening, just focusing on that area. Back to the good mother if any thoughts start to come. And come back to this one. Bring that attention back again and again. महाराज कहते हैं तेरे घर वासु हर जन प्यारे सतगुरु तुम्हारे काज सवारे. When we go into that space of our true home, the true home of our mind, in that stillness, that void, that slumber, through that loving devotion, then Sadguru aap hi sade karaj sawar dinde ne. Sadguru themselves resolve all of our affairs. And we get that pachan, we get that recognition that Guru was taking care of us all along. But it was just those thoughts of the bunch, that self-preservation that was kicking in. But as we go from that state of singing, chanting, listening, we start to not only perceive but experience that sad, that deep-seated peace. We start to experience that wholeness, that love. Guru Pyare, ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਨੁਭਵ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਪਛਾਣ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, when we get that experience, we recognize it, then no one can take that away from us. And if we know, Guru Pyare, that in this moment, in this breath, there is no problem, there is no dukh, And Maharaji has shown us through their Vyant, their endless compassion, that the answer to everything has always been in this place, inside. And the more that we practice, the more that we go into that internal home, the more those tendencies, those habits, those limited beliefs, they will get washed away. The more that all of the mind, the diseases of the mind and the body will heal. And the more that light will reflect through this mind. And Gurmukh Pyareo, then when we open our eyes, that jyot is shining through these eyes, that Amrita Drishti is not only healing you but everybody around you. Because that surge, when we start to get to that state, when we go into sun, when we can sit and listen and go beyond the body, we will start to bring that state into this world as well. Varasukhavasya, Varasukhavaya. The more we access that state through Simran, through Sun, the more Var we will bring that peace into this body, this mind, into our parivar, our family, our home, into our work, our seva, into this dunya, into this world. That is the Khalsa Raj Gurmukh Pyareo. That is the mastery of purity, of righteousness upon the world. That is the true seva of any human being. So, as we start to do that Gurmukh Pyareo, the mind is now aligned with its Atma, with Paramatma. And sometimes through hearing that Shabad, we will just have a knowing. Sometimes we will hear a thought in our mind, and it's just a knowing, and it will guide us in our day-to-day lives. And the more we cultivate this connection, the more that our life will just unfold beautifully. And the final stage then, Gurmukh Pyareo, in that alignment, is Maniya, Gaviya, Suniya, and then Maniya. Then we have to actually listen and act upon it. And tusi saarya ne gal suniya, we've heard what we're saying. But have we accepted and acted upon it? That will be the next step. So sometimes Maharaji, as we start to do this bhakti, as we start to do this Simran, they are guiding us internally through an internal compass. But if we deny it because we're scared, because it's out of our comfort zone, then our progression becomes stagnant. And the next question, Gurmukh Pyareo, is how do we know? How do we know what Paramatma, what Atma is telling us? How do we know that it's not our panchjor or it's not our limited belief systems? So Maharaj kehte, gunge ki mathai, that it can't be described, it's only an experience that you can have. But the more that you connect, you will have an experience to compare it to. So if you want to make a decision and you're thinking and you're emotional and you're ruminating, you know how that feels. But maybe right here, right now, today in the Sadh Sangat, there is a peace in your mind. So go to that state of peace wherever your avastha is at. And check yourself there. Is that franticness? Is that anxiety? Is that catastrophizing? Is that judgment? Is that hatred, that slander still present when I connect at that level? From that peace, from that said, comes vivek buddhi, becomes that wisdom, that discerning intellect that is not coming from your mind, but is coming from the divine. So Guru Pyareo, unless there's any questions, we can just finish off with a little bit more Simran. Are there any questions? There's never questions after we've done Simran. So just for those last few minutes, make these minutes count, Guru Pyareo. As Darshan Benji always reminds us, it's not quantity, it's quality. If you can have both, then pala, even better. Bring your attention to that sound. Set your intention to have that experience of your true source of Paramatma. And bring in that love. Gavriya Suniya Manrakhiya. Love is that substance, that vehicle that will take us to that divine. Sadh Sangat ke asare Prabhasyo Ramgharia. Through the support of the Sangat, through that love, we will move forward. So closing your eyes, really listening, paying attention, relax your body. Karo kirpa. Wow. completely relaxed. Please forgive us for our mistakes. And as we finish with the ultimate ardas, देहो सजन असी सरिया जो होवे साहिब सुने वाहिगुरु जी का